Hey, Chastity. How are you?
Good evening, Berlina. Good,
How you
thank you. How are
doing?
you?
Good, good,
I
good.
am
Hello to
good.
everyone. Hello to everyone who's joining us. We missed you guys. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you. One thing that we're going to ask you tonight is if you're joining us, we're going to be talking about compassion fatigue tonight. So I want you to stay tuned with us. We're going to talk about compassion fatigue, what it is. We're going to talk about how we get through 2021 in a positive manner. We're going to talk about what compassion fatigue actually, what it does to our bodies. So we have a lot to unpack tonight. We're also going to be sharing some things that we learned in 2020. So please share one thing that you've learned in 2020 in the comment fields, and we'll talk about that as well. So I'm Lena Lassiter. I am the president and founder of Forever Healed. I am an advanced grief recovery method specialist. I'm a senior leader in corporate America, and more importantly, the founder and president again of Forever Healed. We are a nonprofit, and what we do is we assist those with broken hearts to end their pain and to reclaim their lives forever. And how do we do this? Several different ways. Through grief recovery classes, licensed by the Grief Recovery Method Institute. So we do virtual one-on-one, face-to-face one-on-ones. We do group sessions. We also go into corporate and we talk about the hidden cost of grief in the workplace. We have also gone to churches and talked about grief in the church. We have a counselor on our board, and she is in charge of all of our children curriculum. So we actually help children who are grieving as well. So thank you for joining in tonight. I have Chastity with me. She is our vice president. So again, Chastity, thank you for joining me tonight during this conversation.
You're welcome. Good evening.
So we have some people. Hi, Pat. Great to see you. Thank you for always joining us. Thank you. We really appreciate the support. Hi, Regina. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We really appreciate you and appreciate the fact that you actually shared the platform with us on last year. So thank you so much. Good to see you guys. So again, tonight we're going to be talking about compassion fatigue, what that means, what it looks like, what it can do to our bodies. Hi, Angela. I have to say this as well. One thing that I was truly passionate about was working with families who have lost loved ones as a result of homicide. So during this time, we have been able to connect with the homicide support group, be a resource for them, just be support for them. We join in on their monthly meetings. So Angela is she's my family. So thanks for joining, Angela. I really appreciate you as well and look forward to you joining this platform with us this year. So again, we're going to be talking about compassion fatigue. What is that? What does it look like? What does it do to our bodies? Who's at risk? And how do we keep a positive attitude in 2021? So again, we're glad to be back. We are going to continue with our assignment and ministry of bringing hope to you guys, love and encouragement via our live sessions. It was a pleasure and an honor, again, to connect with subject matter experts in the community to provide services, tips, and words of encouragement in 2020. And we will be live twice monthly as our classes have resumed and we have one-on-one clients to support. But we're still going to be out here sharing and being engaged with you on Monday nights. So we often teach that time itself does not heal during our grief recovery classes, right? However, one thing that I've learned through the pandemic is that time in and of itself does not make us successful either. So how many of us have asked for additional time to complete or start a project, to write a book, to start a business, maybe declutter? Some of us wanted more time to increase our faith or our spiritual growth. So if we want to see progress, it takes action. It takes action. If you want to start a business, do you have a business plan? Have you gotten a logo created? Do you have a website? What about your brand colors? Do you have a mission or vision statement? What services do you want to provide? What cohort are you trying to reach? right? So how did you guys take advantage of the extra time in 2020? And again, what did you learn from 2020? So let us know by commenting. What did you learn from 2020? So one thing that we learned as an organization, Chastity, is that we actually got out of our comfort zone and we shared the platform again with just others in the community to just share resources, to highlight the gifts of others. And I personally wanted more time to work with families who had suffered a loss as a result of homicide because of my own testimony of losing 2 family members as a result of homicide. So I'm grateful for the time of collaboration in 2020. So what about you, Chastity?
I actually learned that I am a procrastinator.
Wow.
I have a lot of things that I want to do around the house or just personally. And I realized that I put it off. I'll say, okay, I can do this, start on this tomorrow, or I'll start on this Wednesday. And then when Wednesday comes, it's like, why didn't I do this Monday? Because I'll actually enjoy it. I started cleaning up my basement. I
Yeah.
should have been done it, but I just was dreading it. And I just kept saying,
Mhm.
okay, I'll wait till all the kids are home, then I'll do it. Or I'll wait till the kids aren't here, then I'll do it. And when I finally started it, it was like, I've been putting this off for no reason. So I learned a lot about me in
Yeah. Yeah.
2020, sitting in the
Yeah.
house.
That's good. Yeah. How many of you have learned some things about yourselves in 2020? And it was also, Chastity, it was nice sharing encouraging words, right? And receiving the same from our clients and followers in 2020. But speaking of niceties, some people have expressed being tired of being told that everything was going to be okay. Yeah, we have gotten that feedback as well. And you know what? We receive it. We receive it. And because of that feedback is why we're talking about what we're talking about tonight. So I'm grateful for those who have said, you know what, I'm tired of the kumbaya moments. I'm tired of people telling me that everything is going to be okay because I've lost my job, or, I've been sick, or this has happened. And I'm tired of people telling me that it's going to be okay. Or I feel like I'm just in a negative place and I can't pull myself out of that place. So you know what? We appreciate those folks too, who have been able to express their anger, with all of the keep your head up type of messages. But as a matter of fact, again, this is the topic of our discussion tonight. So we're going to be discussing compassion fatigue. So there are people, guys, who are feeling overwhelmed by the unrest in the world, negative news, and the ongoing impact of COVID. So as a result, I wanted to share a few thoughts and tips on how we can and will overcome in the midst of challenging times, right? So with the constant overload of negative information, many of us are feeling emotionally exhausted. And when we are bombarded with bad news on a continual basis, we can become physically, emotionally, and spiritually exhausted. So as a result, everybody who's watching and Chastity, we become more prone to illness, believe it or not. So if we allow the negativity to overtake our peace and our joy, we can develop compassion fatigue. And compassion fatigue can leave us feeling numb. It can leave us feeling isolated and at times withdrawn from life.
Yeah. What exactly is compassion fatigue?
So again, thank you for all who have joined us tonight. We are talking about compassion fatigue. We're talking about those of us who are just mentally exhausted over negative news. So Chastity asks, what is compassion fatigue? Compassion fatigue was a term coined for caregivers, right? So it's somebody who's caring for someone and you're constantly seeing them going through an illness, or you're constantly seeing them experience trauma. So another term for it is actually called secondary trauma, right? So you're constantly seeing people go through trauma, you're constantly seeing people go through illnesses, and then you start having compassion fatigue. It's almost like you start experiencing the trauma after witnessing another person's physical, emotional, or spiritual pain. So I started thinking about this and I was like, wow, That is what we are going through right now in our nation.
So true.
That's exactly what we are going through right now in our nation. So, compassion fatigue, again, was a term coined for caregivers. Typically, those who are caring for someone, they constantly see them struggling through a chronic illness or trauma, and they start taking on, the emotions of that person. So, think about turning on the news every day and you're hearing about the deaths are going up, due to COVID. You're looking at the frontline workers and they're having emotional breakdowns, right? You're constantly watching the news and you're watching someone who was unarmed be murdered. You're constantly hearing all of the political divide, right, in our nation right now. So it's almost like you start taking on the trauma of those individuals that you are constantly watching and your mind is just seeing every day. So that's what compassion fatigue is.
Okay. So even if you're not a frontline worker, who else is most at risk for that?
Great question, Chastity. So who is most at risk? So those who are maybe new to caregiving are at risk, right? So they can start having some burnout. Again, compassion fatigue can happen quickly with them. Those with the history, Chastity, of personal trauma. So if you've ever been abused, you've gone through natural disasters, military experience, unexpected deaths of a loved one, accidents, those with just a history of personal trauma. So that category can be any of us, right? And again, thinking about what's going on today. And then those who interact with many clients, and then those who work long hours. There are some individuals who are working 12, hours a day, right? Those with the history of experiencing burnout. And then those who have trouble communicating. So those who have a hard time expressing their emotions are prone to this fatigue, compassion fatigue. And then those of us who don't have inadequate personal support system. So when people don't have others to lean on and to offer support, they're at significant risk of compassion fatigue.
Okay. Thank you. That's interesting.
Hello, hello. How are you? Hi, Charmaine. Another one of my homicide support group family members. Nice to see you. All right, we have some comments coming in. Oh, Regina says she learned in 2020 how to budget and take care of herself as well. Yes, that's good. That's good. And then she also said that she took care of a friend until she died of cancer. Yeah, it's draining, right, Regina? That can be extremely draining. But, I just want to encourage all of us, regardless of our emotional state, the fact remains that we made it through a very challenging year. And my pastor actually just did a whole sermon on this. I said, we need to have his clip on here, but he talked about how we made it through 2020. So while the ground may have felt a bit shaky, we pulled through, y'all. We pulled through with compassion. We pulled through with flexibility, and we pulled through with perseverance. So that same drive, that same compassion will help get us through 2021. Yeah. A few more comments here, Chastity. Year of action, work towards my purpose and deeper relationship with my Heavenly Father. Yes, 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 Regina. Shanita, hey sis, how are you? Another positive queen. I love her. She is always putting out some motivational, inspirational Facebook posts. I love her. She's an author, a beautiful woman of God, and another one that we would love, Shanita, to get you on here with us one Monday. Okay. So Chastity, was that helpful in terms of who is most at risk?
Yeah, that was very helpful. But do you have some ways that we can go about handling this, or some tips that we can use to deal with this?
Yes, yes. Okay, let's talk through some tips. How do we begin to remain positive in the midst of uncertain times? So, number one, it is absolutely okay to feel what you feel. So if we try to avoid pain or uncomfortable emotions rather than embracing it, it will cause us to have greater suffering. So we have to allow ourselves to embrace the pain of being present with our sadness. The intensity of it will eventually decrease, and then we can move on, right, and enjoy some positive emotions and have the creativity, if you will, and enthusiasm to work at solving some of our problems, in the world. So I'm very intentional with my words, right? So be comfortable. It's okay to feel what you feel. Now, it's a different issue or conversation if you remain there. So you don't want to remain there. And a lot of times we remain there when we try to suppress our feelings, we try to hold them in, we try to mask how we feel. So do know that it's okay to feel what you feel. Embrace the discomfort, knowing that it will dissipate. And then you can enjoy some positive emotions as you go through that grieving process.
Quick question. So it's okay that others may not understand how you feel as long as you know how you feel and you accept how you feel.
Yes, and that's a great point, right? All of us are unique and individual. So our relationships are unique and individual. The way we process information is going to be unique and individual. So do know that it is okay how you feel, and you can't allow anyone else to dictate to you how you feel. So it's okay to express your emotions in a safe place. And just express how you feel, and even if it's uncomfortable, it's okay. I talked to the homicide support group on Monday about the crushing process of the diamond, right? So it's uncomfortable, but it's being crushed to be the perfect size. So a lot of times it feels like we're being crushed, but it's building the perfect amount of faith, the perfect amount of endurance, the perfect amount of perseverance, for us to make it through. And I see we have some comments. I don't want to get too, let's see. Yes, I'm doing very well. Yes. Yes, we are going to definitely have her on. Second point that I would like to share with you guys tonight to help us to get through is disconnect from negative news. Disconnect. So knowledge is absolute power, right? People always tell me, well, you don't watch the news. How do you stay updated with, trust me, if there's a crisis, I'm going to find out about it, right? So knowledge is power, and it is critical to stay abreast of the happenings in the world. However, if you're constantly focusing on negative news, it's going to lead you to feeling that, that gloom and doom feeling, if you will, right? So there's going to be bad news, guys, in the world. There's always going to be bad news, right? But we're just more prone to hearing about the bad news. So with advancement of technology, these platforms, social media platforms that we're on, you're constantly, sometimes you're seeing bickering amongst, your friends. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I've seen that. I've seen some bickering and judgment amongst believers, and it's been disheartening. But there's good news for us to hear about, right? But the good news doesn't sell. So it's up to us to find the good news in order to create a healthy balance. So it's okay to stop following somebody on social media. Don't allow yourself to get pulled in, to those arguments, right? A soft answer turns away wrath. You don't have to comment on everything. So I personally have just stopped even following some news feeds. Still love that person, but I'm not going to continue to allow the negativity to toxify my joy and my peace and my health. It's not worth it. So disconnect from negative news. Yes. Yes. A stronger relationship, Miss Pat said. Yes. Yes, Shanita. She said she's the same way. Our third point is gratitude. To me, gratitude is a powerful way of finding balance in the midst of our own personal storms and of the bad news, right? That we often find ourselves in the midst of, especially like in the recent days. So by focusing our attention on feeling thankful for the good news, it not only changes our perspective, but it also expands what we're grateful for. So a lot of you have already said, hey, I've gotten a stronger relationship with God. I did some soul searching in 2020. It allowed me time to do X, Y, and Z, right? Just be grateful for those things that you have accomplished. Be grateful for what we have. Be grateful for what's even yet to come that we don't even know about. So we start focusing on those things versus, oh my gosh, another person has died of COVID. And trust me, I'm not making light of that. We have lost family members. We have lost some friends. It's real. I get it. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm downplaying that. But what I want you to hear me say is, you can still be thankful for the time that you had with them. Yes, it's awful that they had to die alone. It is. There are no words for that. But one thing I say all the time, even to our clients, death cannot rob you of your memories and of the time that you had. So I'm going to find something to be grateful for, in every situation. It is a powerful way to help us keep our balance. Yes, Regina, grateful just even for another day. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Number 4, guys, positive relationships, right? So develop relationships with people who are inspirational, motivational. They're positive, with whom you can discuss your feelings. So like Chastity, you mentioned earlier, right? So someone who's going to allow you to even express your feelings without judging you and telling you that you shouldn't feel that way or you don't feel that way, right? You don't feel attacked. So feel free, again, to delete or hide from your view any negative comments made on social media, right? Rather than getting pulled into that argument. I mean, there are some people that you can think of, I know I can think of, when I'm around them, oh my gosh, they just uplift my spirit. They uplift my soul. It's just being around them. They're just naturally positive people. And I'm not saying that they don't go through things in life, but it's just how they handle it. And they're always encouraging. And those are the individuals that I want to connect to in this season. So we are going to focus on positive relationships. All right. So let's just recap real quick, and then we'll knock out the last couple. It's okay to feel what you feel, guys. Disconnect from the negative news. Yes, knowledge is power, but we have to make sure that we're feeding ourselves with facts. So let me just say that too, right? Because some of the information that's coming across social media, the news, they're not all factual, right? And then let's just have an attitude of gratitude. So let's just be thankful for the lessons that were learned in 2020. And that's why we asked you guys to do that exercise. What are you looking forward to in 2021? And then number 4, positive relationships. Develop relationships with positive people who are inspiring, who are motivating during this time, who are honest, during this time. And we have a couple more comments that I'm going to address. Yes, Patricia, focus on the positive things in life and building memories with friends and family. Expect great things. Yes, indeed. This is a must. Positive vibes only. Absolutely. And then this one, relax. Take a complete technology time out. Do you guys do that? And find a way to relax. Read a book, walk, right? So frequently experiencing the stress responses, right? Or the stress response, also known as our flight or flight response. I know you guys have heard that before. It can be triggered by watching or hearing, again, tragic events, right? It can lead to depression. It can lead to anxiety. It can damage your organs. So therefore, having a practice of including relaxation response, taking time to go inward and find your peaceful place, it can significantly increase our ability to stay healthy, to stay balanced, and to stay creative. So I'm going to say just relax. And then the last tip that I have for you, exercise, eat, and sleep well. You're probably saying, Lena, you know what? We hear this all the time. Yes, and I'm going to say it to you again. So eat healthily, right? Get a good night rest. Exercise in one way in which you can detoxify the stress hormones. So exercising, it helps us to detoxify stress hormones. So whatever that looks like for you, again, it could just walking. You can be sitting at your desk with some weights in your hand, right? So eating the right foods can help us be more resilient to stress, to prevent disease, to help us become more energized, right? And of course, getting a good night quality sleep is essential for us having a good mood, as well as good health. And then the last thing I want to talk about is find purpose. So what does that mean? Become a part of the change process. So volunteer with the cause that you feel strongly about. And I want to end with this. We all get knocked down from time to time in our lives. Sometimes we can't catch our breath. Sometimes we can't even catch ourselves from falling, or we can't get ourselves back up quickly. However, there are occasions when we may need to just ask for help. And that assistance may look like a mentor. That assistance may be a coach. That assistance may be a friend. It can be a mental health professional. But the most important thing, guys, is that we get back up. So I just want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. I will ask that you please like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And more importantly, if you or someone that you know is suffering from pain due to a loss of any kind, please contact us for a free consultation to discuss your needs and how we may be able to serve and walk with you through the grieving process. So hopefully these tips can help you maintain a healthy attitude in 2021. It's okay to feel, disconnect, gratitude, be grateful for whatever your lesson was in 2020. Build positive relationships or maintain them. Relax. I want you to exercise, eat, and sleep well. And more importantly, I want you to find purpose. And a lot of people say, well, what does that mean? What is my purpose? What are you passionate about? What's that change process? What does that look like to you? So volunteer, for a cause that means something to you. Yeah. Makes you feel better also. Yes, it does, Regina. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, we want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. We will be back in a couple of weeks to keep these conversations going. We have some exciting things that we're going to be talking about this year. We're going to have some awesome speakers on, sharing the platform to continue to inspire and encourage and motivate you. I hope that this message has helped you to feel better. Any questions that you guys have before we sign off on compassion fatigue? Any further questions? Yes, giving back, Patricia, is key. It's critical. Yeah. Chastity, you have any final words?
Thank you for this. I wasn't even thinking compassion fatigue. I'm just like, okay, I'm starting to get burnt out. Trying to do virtual schooling, virtual work, trying not to snack all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this brought a whole lot of things to the forefront for me.
Good.
So yeah, compassion fatigue is real.
Right. Compassion fatigue is real, y'all. So we had to come out here to explain to some of you what you may be going through. And again, no judging. I appreciate the ones who reached out to say, I'm angry and I'm tired of the kumbaya messages and I'm tired of folks telling me that I'm going to be fine. But you know what? We made it through a very challenging year and we're going to make it through this year. So we love you guys. Have a peaceful rest and a peaceful night. And share this video. We love you. And we'll see you soon. Good night.
Good night.